After Judgment Day, the future war raged on, but with over 3 billion humans still alive after the nuclear strikes, it would require quantity over quality for Skynet to terminate humanity. So, as they say, quantity has a quality of its own. So, I present to you the T-400, or as the Resistance called it, the Clanker. Skynet's main aim with the T-400 was to produce a Terminator that was roughly similar size and shape of a human. It had learned much from the T-400 Terminator, which were based off the NORAD maintenance drones, and the T-400 was Skynet's first true mass-produced attempt at an infiltration model that it had designed all by itself. It was a very early form of infiltrator though, and it was very easy for humanity to tell it apart from a human. But for Skynet, it was a test to see if it could mimic humans. Even though in this sense the T-400 failed, it was still viable trial and error for Skynet's future Terminator models. But this design did mean the T-400 could go most places a human could, from urban ruins to dense forests. It could follow its targets where larger hunter-killer models would be blocked. It gave Skynet some tactical flexibility, which it desperately needed in the future war. The appearance of the T-400 was very primitive in its design. It was a big robot, it towered around 7 foot tall, easily standing out to resistance fighters, even dwarfing later models of Terminator. This is due to Skynet's design still being pretty basic, and it had not miniaturized its killing machines very effectively yet. The T-400 also had very boxy style shape, with it being very broad and square on its shoulders and limbs. It also had lots of exposed wires and components, lacking the rubber skin or flesh of later models. All this together made it completely hopeless as an infiltrator, and I think of it more as an infantry unit than an infiltrator, and its appearance is truly one of kind of a 70s to 80s sci-fi robot, something that would definitely fit in with the movies of the time. The T-400 was made from simple and easy to access materials, mainly steel and whatever rare earth metals were required for more advanced components, but no advanced alloys. This was a good choice by Skynet. It meant far less logistics to produce, and due to the lower grade of materials required, Skynet could use recycled scrap to make them. This obviously meant the T-400 was not efficient when it came to its weight. It was around 500 pounds, making it very heavy. This most likely where it got the nickname the Clanker, due to its heavy weight giving its movement a large metallic thudding sound as it walked towards its enemies. To move, the T-400 used a simple hydraulic system. This added to the slow and inflexible movement style, but it did give it strength far beyond a human, with it easily being able to lift 1,000 pounds of weight with ease, and most likely it could do far more. The T-400 could also break through concrete, smash through doors, and throw aside obstacles in its path. It was slow yet strong, and could use its strength to its advantage. Their immense strength made them particularly lethal in close combat, with it being able to crush and snap bones with ease, and a single punch or kick to a human target was most of the time lethal. And even being slow, if it was within arm's reach, it was going to be a bad day for whoever was on the other side of the T-400. Imagine a 7 foot tall steel brute punching you in the ribs, and you get the picture. It wasn't limited to using itself as a weapon, with it being able to wield small arms and even heavier weapons with its strength, and some models of T-400 even had a shoulder-mounted plasma cannon, which greatly increased its damaged output. And depending on the timeline, it could be armed with conventional weapons or plasma weapons, like in its appearance in the video games. Its use of ranged weapons was aided by the fact that it had multiple optical sensors. First, the large glowing red eye on the T-400's head. This was a very good sensor, but due to the slow movement speed of the head, it needed to be supported by a sensor mounted on its left shoulder. This gave the T-400 multiple sensors and it could see at multiple angles at once, making it very effective on the battlefield. This also helped it engage multiple targets, though this could be an issue with its weak CPU. It could even see behind itself, which made it a great guard and sentry, and it had night vision, which further enhanced its ability to find potential targets, especially if they were conducting night raids. But one major downside was its exposed components, and due to its large red optical sensor, resistant snipers could pick it off easily from afar. It was a very effective bunch of sensors, but due to its major weak spots, the T-400 was easy pickings at ranged combat. This really did affect it, and in the long run, was definitely one of its downfalls. This also leads me to the armour of the T-400. It could resist conventional small arms in areas that the shell covered its body, but due to its many exposed weak spots, such as wires and hydraulics, they were easily shot out to neutralise the T-400. And once humanity had learnt these weak spots well, the T-400 became far less of a threat. Production of the T-400 was very easy for Skynet. This led to them being made en masse, with being kind of like Skynet's conscript, not particularly great at anything, but easily available, and being able to drown their opposition with numbers. So when deployed on the battlefield, Skynet sent them in large groups to overrun resistant positions with sheer weight of numbers. This was normally done after larger, non-humanoid Terminators had pummeled human positions to eliminate the heaviest of the resistance. And as Skynet produced more advanced models of Terminators, the T-400 was used many times as a diversion to keep the resistance attention while most advanced models moved in for the kill. The T-400 also became relegated to more basic tasks such as guards at Skynet facilities and human internment camps where the human prisoners were being used for testing and other terrible fates, and even jobs such as planting explosives and higher risk missions where cheap, expendable Terminators were needed to spare the loss of more valuable machines. Some models of T-400 were still active at the end of the future war in terrible rusted states and were easily dispatched by the now victorious resistance. The T-400 did have one major flaw, its intelligence level. As this was still an early model of Terminator, and its AI brain was pretty limited, giving it the intellectual adaptability of a young child or an ape, at best, this led to the T-400 not being very quick to act to a quickly changing battlefield, and when approached by multiple threats from different angles, this could lead to the T-400's brain stuttering and having a part of like a mini crash, which would cause it to pause, a fatal flaw that the resistance exploited heavily. Even though the T-400 was big and slow by human standards, this was a significant step in Skynet's path to the supreme infiltrator, the T-800, and with the fact that most human survivors' interactions with Skynet's combat machines would have been the hunter-killers like the HK Aerial or the towering HK Tank, these machines, even though very lethal, could not follow survivors into the sewers or see them hiding under the rubble of the old world. But the T-400 changed that, and now humanity had no safe haven from Skynet. It could follow them to where they slept. It was the next terrible stage in the future war, and it would lead to countless lives lost. And the T-400, I've got to say, is quite an interesting machine. I didn't have the best sources for this. I had to kind of pick and choose once again what I could find. So obviously, if you guys have any info out there, please throw it out my way. We could always make another video on it. But I did my best with what was available. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, guys. And I would just say, check out the Hydrobot video I did. That was pretty cool. And the T-600 one. And more Terminator lore to come. Thanks, guys, and have a good day.